Hey everyone, and welcome back to another GTA Online video. Today I want to talk to you guys about all things casino DLC related. I'm going to go over all the paths that Rockstar could take with this update in terms of the format of the update itself and how gambling is implemented. I'll also explain some intricacies within the topic of loot boxes and gambling in video games as it pertains to this topic. There's going to be a lot of speculation in this video, and I'm going to try to use logical arguments to back up the claims of how I don't think it's going to work, and then I'll use some of my imagination to how I think the casino will work on the other options when it's added to the game. Right off the bat, I can make a very logical assumption that gambling as a whole will not be the main focus of this update. The reason for that is conflicting laws between countries relating to online gambling. Gambling and loot boxes in video games as of right now are a huge gray area, and the origin of that gray area comes from the question, what constitutes as gambling? Some people will say that loot boxes are gambling and that companies are taking advantage of kids' addictive tendencies in order to make a profit off of them. And then there are the loopholes that the companies use where they basically walk on the line between it being gambling and it not being gambling. The two loopholes that we've heard tons of times before are that you aren't required to purchase loot boxes with real money. You can earn everything in the game without spending a dime, despite the game heavily influencing in-game purchases by designing a long grind so that it takes forever to get the items in the loot boxes without actually spending real money. Or that it's not actual gambling because you know you're always going to get something out of the box. There's never going to be a situation where you lose and don't get anything. And then there's the whole argument of whether or not the items you earn in-game have any real-world value to them, and that's really as far as I need to go on in that topic. I'll be referencing this part of the video later though. Coming back to GTA and Red Dead Online, poker was recently added to Red Dead, and as you may know, it's not available in some countries. Many people have said that since Red Dead Online doesn't let you directly buy the money that you use for gambling, it's completely separate from the microtransaction currency, that it's completely fine. Well, clearly that isn't the case. Poker is still banned in some countries despite the currencies being separated. Is it possible that because the currencies are separated that it allows more countries to have poker than without separating them? Possibly, but I can't say for sure. I don't know the exact gambling laws of each country. One thing I see a lot is that they could just add a separate currency like chips specifically for the casino to avoid any of those issues. Well, as we see in Red Dead Online, currency separation doesn't fix the issue, so even if they were to add chips or some other form of currency for gambling, those same countries that can't play poker in Red Dead Online still would have this part missing from the update. So if gambling were to be a huge part of the update, then those countries wouldn't have an update. They'd get cars and weapons, but not the main event. And I just can't see Rockstar doing that, so that's why I strongly believe that actual gambling is going to be a very small portion of this update. You're probably thinking, well, what do you mean by actual gambling? What I mean by this is the typical win or lose situation. The thing that I'm afraid of happening in this update is the introduction of randomized rewards that you can only earn through spending money gambling. Imagine if there's a car they add that you are only allowed to buy after you unlock it through gambling. And they could apply this to anything really, clothing, weapons, weapon tints, you name it. And something that I feel was overlooked by a lot of people, me included, is that in Arena War, Rockstar was literally testing gambling mechanics. With the Arena War wheel, you pay $5,000 and get a random power-up, RP, AP, or a cash bonus. And this is that exact same system that I talked about earlier in the video where you will always get a reward. This system was available everywhere, it wasn't banned in certain countries, and no one batted an eye at it. Also in Arena War, you had the system of random trade price unlocks when you leveled up in the arena, one of the worst trade price systems ever to come to the game. And it begs the question, what's stopping them from taking the system a step further and making it so the entire item is locked behind an RNG system? Personally, I don't think Rockstar would do something like this. That's one of the things I've liked about GTA Online. Yeah, prices are really high, but at least you know there's no loot box RNG system to unlocking content. If you ever want a new car, you're welcome to buy a shark card and directly purchase that car. There's no chance you have to take to get it. And if they do something like this, it's going to get a lot of hate by the community. When companies put loot boxes and RNG stuff in their game and lock it behind real money paywalls, it does not go well with communities. And I don't think Rockstar would want that negative attention to them. But I'm just going to put that out there as a possibility because you never know. So we've established that actual gambling is most likely not going to be a major part of the update to avoid alienating certain countries. Now let's talk about what is most likely going to be the main portion of the update. I see three potential outcomes. Number one, it's a heist. Number two, it's a viable property and a business. And number three, it's both. Which one do I think is the most probable one? I would say a viable property. Here's why. In the first batch of changes made to the exterior of the casino last week, they removed a prop in front of what looks to be a garage entrance. There's no reason to clear the entrance unless we are going to be entering and exiting a garage through this way. There's probably going to be a blue circle around here somewhere, and then when you're entering the casino garage, there'll be a cutscene of you driving up this little spiral road, which means A, it has to be a building that we can buy, and B, more garage space. I'm guessing it'll be similar to the 3 floors of nightclub car storage we have. As for the property itself, aside from the garage, casinos are known for having hotels attached to them, so maybe it's just a room of a hotel attached to it, or it's some other business venture located underneath it, just like how the nightclubs work. But as for what the business is, it could be anything really. Maybe it's like an after hours reskin where instead of running a nightclub with a business underneath it, we're running a casino with a business underneath it. As for it being a casino heist, it very well could be. There's the alleged casino heist that was cut from story mode that could be reused for online, just like the Doomsday heist was. However, if we're going to be robbing the casino, then it makes no sense that it would be a purchasable property, which contradicts the garage theory about the prop being removed from in front of the entrance. And since all updates usually contain some sort of property as a paywall to start whatever the update is, what else would there be? Would there be mansions where that's the only place you can set up the casino heist? That's really blind speculation getting into that. And for the third option, having it both be a viable property and a heist, it just makes no sense. If it's a business you own and at the same time you can rob that business because there's only one casino, how does that even work out? Are you going to rob yourself? I see no way that that can be logically pulled off unless there's multiple casinos, which I highly doubt to be the case. As for pricing, well, I can tell you how I think the property pricing is going to work. You buy whatever the casino property is, then maybe you choose if you want slot machines, roulette tables, blackjack, poker, all as individual upgrades that you can check off. Then you choose how many floors of storage you want, a design of the interior, and probably end up with a final price tag of around, say, $8 million. That's a pretty high price, but, there hasn't been an update in a while. They need those shark cards. Really, I'm just basing this off of how After Hours worked. You had the option of certain lights and stuff to choose from, but this time you choose what kind of games are in your casino. To answer the question of how much money you'll need to buy everything in the update, well, there's going to be drip feed. I think that's pretty obvious. To buy everything on day one, excluding trade prices, I would say you'll need like 30 to 40 million. And then to buy every single thing in the update, including the drip feed, you're probably looking along the lines of $100 million. I'm just guessing though. For vehicles, your guess is as good as mine. In a nightclub update, we managed to get an A10 Warthog and an Oppressor Mark II, so, nothing is off the table. Expect some crazy vehicles is all I'm going to say on that. If I was to pick a few vehicles that I want to see in the next update though, can we please get a supercar with Night Shark armor, or at least a supercar that can hold its own, maybe not Night Shark armor, that would be a little overkill. And for a civilian car, the Obey 9F needs some love, let's be honest. I want to see an Obey 9F custom. And the Turismo from GTA 4, I don't know how that's not in GTA 5 yet. The Turismo from GTA 4 was the best looking car in that game. None of the Turismos we have in the game currently come close to that. For weapons, it's kind of the same deal. I can't really speculate on what weapons we'll see. It could be anything. I just want the weapon to be fun. Something like a flamethrower, weapons like the Up and Atomizer that don't break the game and are just fun to mess around with. And that brings us to the final part of the video, the release date. We know there are 3 phases of changes that are going to occur to the outside of the casino. The second phase will most likely take place tomorrow, June 13th, with the third and final phase taking place on June 20th. So I assume the update will release the week after that on June 27th. This date would be in line with Fun's information of him saying that the update will be out sometime between late June and July. The week after that date is the 4th of July. Rockstar always does something special in the game for that event, usually pertaining to the newly released update. We saw that with gun running and the American flag weapon liveries, along with the Independence Day themed MOC liveries. So I think the 27th of June is the best bet. Also, that pun was completely intended, by the way. But yeah, this has been my thought process on the casino update ever since we got the teaser last week. I said to myself, you know what, I'm just going to make one long video about everything I've been thinking about pertaining to this update. I hope you guys enjoyed or found it interesting at least. If you did, feel free to leave a like, as well as subscribe to my channel for more guide and PvP related content. If Phase 2 happens tomorrow, stay tuned for this week's changes and additions video where I'll be covering that in detail. And as always, thanks for watching and have a great day.